Getting in these pictures, in fact, of the bilateral meeting that is just about to start, in fact, between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. In fact, these are pictures from Delhi's Hyderabad house, the bilateral scheduled for today, a series of meetings, and then the Saudi Crown Prince leaves for Saudi Arabia. He stayed back after the G20 meeting to attend. In fact, this bilateral, like Geeta was pointing out, that this was on the agenda, and he's clubbed his bilateral with the G20 Summit, for which he was in Delhi for 3 days. The Saudi Crown Prince, of course, was in Delhi on a 3-day visit. He stayed back for the G20, for the bilateral after the G20 Summit. Now, what really is expected as far as this bilateral between India and Saudi Arabia is concerned? A series of agreements in the energy sector is what we are looking at. Ways and means to enhance ties, trade ties between both the countries is what really is on the agenda. The bilateral. After the bilateral, in fact, what really is expected is that at about noon, signing of minutes of the first meeting of the India-Saudi Strategic Partnership Council. That also is expected. Later in the day, in the evening at 6:30, a meeting with the President of India, President Draupadi Murmu, and then the Saudi Crown Prince leaves for Saudi Arabia. These are pictures, in fact, of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Saudi Crown Prince, who, in fact, are at Delhi's Hyderabad house. Well, earlier on Saturday, if you'd recall, India and the United States, also Saudi Arabia and the European Union announced a historic agreement to launch a mega India-Middle East-Europe shipping and railway connectivity corridor. The Prime Minister had already, in fact, made the announcement for the ambitious projects on the sidelines of the G20 Summit. Geeta, in fact, continues to be with us even as we stay with those pictures. Geeta, talk to us. What really is on the agenda as far as this bilateral is concerned between India and Saudi Arabia?
A visit that was long overdue. The two sides had been planning a state visit of the Crown Prince for a while now, and instead of a standalone visit, they clubbed it with the G20, which makes a lot of sense logistically for the Crown Prince, a very busy man indeed. But look at the visuals, the body language, Sneha, the visuals of the two leaders, the way they greeted each other, not just during the G20, even when he was receiving the Guard of Honor and later spoke with the media. It is clear that this is only an upward trajectory that the relationship is going to see in the coming years, should the two sides agree to continue working on the platforms and areas that they have that they're working on currently. Now, we do know that there are a lot of things on the agenda, but clearly energy and agriculture will be top of the list when it comes to conversations between the two sides. And then they are also going to co-chair the Strategic Partnership Council. Over here, the lineup of the people in the delegation also very important. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, the National Security Advisor, followed by Additional Secretary Asif Saeed, and our ambassador to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. On the other side, we also have, apart from the Crown Prince and Prime Minister himself, the Foreign Minister, the Saudi Ambassador. There are a few ministers, including the Energy Minister, who not so long ago, the Commerce and Energy Minister, who not so long ago had a discussion with Piyush Goyal, Union Minister, and held a briefing or a conversation at the Saudi-India Investment Summit in New Delhi this morning. So there is a lot on the anvil. Over here, the two sides are going to discuss various aspects of the ties, from defense, trade, economic partnership, services, manufacturing, how to become how to become an alternative in the resilient supply chain conversations that the global community is having. But if you look at energy between India and Saudi Arabia, there is a huge import, and Saudi Arabia is a key partner when it comes to oil and gas. But the fact that they are also looking to shift and to transition into green, into biofuels, into renewables, that's a conversation that you'll see take place during the bilateral between the two leaders as well. The joint statement that will be issued after the meeting is going to be very important. It's going to cover all aspects of economic cooperation, defense partnership, strategic partnership, education, technology. There is a huge conversation on artificial intelligence, digital technology, digital public infrastructure. That's going to be one aspect. And the cultural and people-to-people contact, like we've been saying earlier as well, Sneha, in our conversations, about the fact that there is a huge Indian diaspora in Saudi Arabia, and that makes for a very important soft power for India. India has been using its soft power diplomacy through the people who live, the Indian diaspora who live in various countries.